How important is praying? I'm sure we've all sat down before a meal or before bed, and the thought of prayer may or may not have raced across our head. While some may look at this as a burden, the question of why is it important to pray arises. Sure, we have been told it's an important part of Christian life, but this week we dive into why prayer is not only an important part of Christian life, but an outright essential one. Diving right into it, I'm sure we all have at least been somewhat familiarized with the custom of prayer. Whether you're a Christian or not, it's often culturalized in media, sports, art, music, and day-to-day life. Some people characterize it with a last resort when their life seems to be in shambles, while others may just look at it as a way to express gratitude for everything they have. This all being said, we have to look at the underlying message of what prayer is designed to do. As many Christians look at it as a way to talk to God, asking for His intervention in whatever circumstance has arisen in their life, this is not the purpose of the act. To put it simply, prayer is the first step of a Christian's journey into forming a relationship with God. In society, it is easy to label yourself a Christian, as we have been over in past episodes. But being Christian truly begins when you have formed a steadfast relationship with God. It is an interesting concept, even though we cannot see or hear God. Prayer gives us an outlet to talk to Him openly about anything we wish. To really understand this concept, we have to look at Jesus and how much emphasis He put on prayer. Jesus prayed often, using it as a lifeline to God and further helping Him see God's purpose and direction. This relationship allowed Jesus to approach potentially dangerous situations with confidence due to the bond that had grown between Him and God. As Christians, we always have to look back at Jesus as the exemplar of what we should strive to be. Jesus' relationship with God through prayer allowed Him to gain the confidence and assurance He needed as He did God's will. Taking this concept back into our own lives, I dare to ask the question of, do you truly feel like you have a relationship with God? Without prayer, a relationship with God can never exist, as any relationship without firm and dedicated communication will crumble. God frequently expresses His desire to want to have a relationship with us, but the first step we have to take to advance that relationship is to find time to sit down and have that conversation. Moving forward, let's begin to start relating this back to how we can implement these lessons back into our daily lives, as I'm sure we are all aware that prayer is a necessity, but where do we start? Many people have a hard time getting the conversation started, much less forming a relationship with God. For starters, I'd like to say no matter who you are or what point in life you're at, I promise you can find 100 things to be grateful for. Many people take the little things they have been blessed with for granted. Beginning to acknowledge these blessings, and even something as simple as praying before a meal, thanking God you got to sit down and have food, is a step in the right direction. About to fall asleep? Have you ever considered the blessing of even having a bed to sleep in? Showing gratitude in little circumstances like this slowly begins to show God you are recognizing all the good He's doing for you, and it's not going unappreciated. Lastly, I would like to state one of the biggest benefits to prayer there is. Although many people believe since God doesn't talk physically back to them, the conversation can't go both ways, but this is anything but the truth. If we look at James 1:5, it says, "If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you." Prayer gives us the opportunity to learn and further analyze situations we may have overlooked previously. To wrap this up, I would like to say that it's easy to forget to pray, and if you're one of these people, don't hold it over yourself. But the sooner you realize that prayer and genuine conversation with God is the purest and healthiest way to grow a relationship with Him, it's going to be a hard thing to forget to do. Thank you for joining me on this week's episode about prayer, and I hope to see all of you next time.